Here we go. Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. I'm Mika here at Leap Taken. I talk all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And welcome to today's talk, where we're going to be talking about the thinning veil, how to work with this energy. Let me move this over so I can stop looking to the side. How to work with this energy during this time of Samhain. And yeah, that's basically what we're going to get into, how to work with it um, uh, safely. And what it is. So we're going to get into that whole conversation. So this is part of my countdown to Samhain series. I'm looking at my notes here. We are halfway through with this. By the way, we are halfway through October. Um, Wow. It's like 5 weeks pretty much in October. So we are halfway through. By now, before I even get into kind of my planned conversation, by now, if you are more sensitive, you're feeling it. You're feeling the energy right now. You're starting to feel, you might be having more dreams. A lot of us are having dreams that are more vivid than usual. Maybe someone is actually talking to you, a past relative, or maybe it's a feeling, if it's not a dream, or you keep seeing certain symbols or certain signs or something like that. Either way, it's for a lot of people who are very sensitive. Now is the time. You are feeling it. um, some people might relate this to just the seasons changing. So you'll think, oh, maybe because it's the seasons, and that's part of it. But also for those who are very sensitive to these energies, and when I see these energies, spirits, working with ancestors, dare I say it, for some people, maybe even ghosts. um, those have not crossed over, by the way, and that's a different territory. But anyway, yeah, you're probably feeling it more now. And to that, I would say try your hardest not to be afraid. Try to embrace it. This isn't a negative. This isn't something that is bad. This isn't something that um, you need to be running away from or that you need to be concerned about. This isn't something, you're not being nothing's going to hurt you. You see what I'm saying? I know a lot of people get weird about this, and I know this because I talk to people. They get freaked out, and it has a lot to do with media, with religion, and all that other sort of stuff. We all have the capacity to work with the dead. We all have that in us. And for some people, I was talking about this, it's more of, for some people, it's something where we all have it. Some people it's a little stronger than others. I'll just say that. But on to the planned content, because I start on a tangent and who knows where this will go. So we're going to define the veil in case you weren't sure. So the veil typically refers to a boundary of energetic separation between the physical world and the spiritual world. In some, that's it. In other realms, uh, the veil exists in general. The veil exists all year. However, at certain times, like at Samhain and the time approaching and shortly after, it becomes much thinner. So, why? Why is it thinning during Samhain? A lot of people ask about this. So, why now? What's so special about this time? So, Samhain's considered the witch's new year. I definitely celebrate it that way in my practice. Um, we honor the dead, the ancestors. We reflect on the cycle of death and rebirth, agriculturally speaking, also. The thinning of the veil allows for easier communication. I talked about this, I think, in the previous live that I was on in the series, but communication with spirits, deities, energies that we might otherwise have more difficulty trying to reach. Again, I truly believe that we all, for lack of better words, have a little witch in us. I believe we all do. However, all of us don't know how to flex that muscle, use that muscle, because it's been dormant or It's just not something maybe you were taught to shut it down as a child, because you saw things or you heard things or you received messages and you were told that's not real, don't talk about that, that sort of stuff. So yeah, um, do that enough. Yeah. My mother, and just to share a little something about me, my mother is someone who spoke to this. She said, as a child, my grandmother confirmed this. My grandmom is not going to believe in no woo stuff either. It freaks her out. Well, now, well, I think now it would just be cruel to do that. But anyway, she very wants to talk about the God, the Jesus God, and all that stuff. But anyway, my grandmother told me, your mom would tell me things that that someone who clearly died. She was a child, and she would say, "Oh, they told me to tell so and so this." So it wasn't even just from my message from my grandma; it'd be like a neighbor, or she'll say, "Oh, Mister or Miss so and so came to see me, and they died that night." So little kid is telling her the stuff. This wasn't just a one-off. This happened quite often. My mother had this for growing up, like, and then she became more aware, and she did not like it. It freaked her out. She didn't like it, and in teenage fashion, she would want to dull her senses. Um, and now I feel like because she kind of let it go so it never wouldn't I wouldn't say dormant, but I think now because she doesn't use that muscle, so to speak, that psychic medium ability, that it comes out in weird ways now. But she still has the you don't lose the gift, by the way. You just don't. You're just not working with it in the way you used to. I'll just say that, right? It's not going to be as strong. But this time of year, for those people who I'm describing, like my mother or like anyone else, guess what? Now's your time to shine. They can get in touch with you. Now, and if you don't want that, I would say wear some. I would create an amulet or have one created for me that protects me from spirit communication. If you're really that afraid, but I don't, I'm not going to condone that. I want you to communicate. I don't think you should be afraid. So, the history and lore of the veil, just culturally, we're just going to dip into this a little bit. I kind of talked about it before. So, the ancient Celts believed Samhain was a time when spirits could freely walk the earth. That was what they believed. In Mexico, we know about the Day of the Dead. So, the dead are honored in I mean, if you go to Michael's right now and you see things for the Day of the Dead, you see Halloween things and you see things specifically for the Day of the Dead. Um, it's clearly a Mexican influence and they're selling it. I've purchased some things. So, candles, with the label, the sugar skull on it. The sugar skull itself, I painted one. It's sitting in my living room now year round. And I also have a cabinet, which let's see if I can move this. It's right there. Yeah, there. Yeah, y'all see it, the blue. If you can see that, yeah. I have a cabinet right back there. If you're interested, I did a room tour because I recently just redid my room. Um, Check out my other channel, Magical Lifestyle of a Cottage Witch. I just posted that yesterday. So you can check it out. And if you're curious to know how witches' cottages at Halloween, Samhain time, I also did a video there, the one previous, and that's a house tour. So you can check out those videos after this. But yeah, so it's culturally, it's been something that's all people have always um, for quite some time had a connection to the concept of the veil thinning and this time of year. Symbolically, though, the thinning of the veil also symbolizes the balance between light and dark, life and death, and just the mysteries of things we might not fully understand in our day-to-day lives. Hi, Joey PK. So symbolically for me, I that's why I started this is the dark half of the year, the countdown to Samhain, but this is the dark half of the year. Um, I take that to heart. I take that seriously. And this is a time of just sort of life and death. I take that concept and I apply it to not just like from a weather outlook, but to other aspects of my life. I add more lighting in my home. uh, it starts now, and then we'll come into the Yule time, time of Yule, and you'll notice there's even more lights because the idea of it being dark or death, you know, that whole concept. And for me, that's a time of rest. That's a time for me to plan. That's a time for me to go within. That's a time for me to do a lot more meditation. Um, uh, More reflective, a lot more journaling, that sort of thing. Like that type, those types of energies. Those are just off the, that's just automatic for me around this time of year. And that's also being connected to Samhain. That's being connected to. So if you're concerned that like this stuff doesn't resonate with me like it does with everybody else. I like Halloween. I like the decorations, but I don't feel the thing that everybody else says they're feeling. You're probably feeling it, but one, a lot of people is performative. Okay, it's for views, it's for likes, so they're doing all this extra stuff. Um, but do they really? Is this really their thing? Do they really like this stuff? Are they really into it? Are they really feeling it? Who's to say? I don't know. But don't compare yourself to that. I pride myself on being a very authentic person. I probably overshare here on YouTube, like a lot about my life. When you're talking about magic, because I use magic for my everyday life, so I feel like I need to share some things. Um, I mean, this stuff really works for me. Living this way, living as a cottage witch, living a magical lifestyle, it really works for me. I literally was working with someone this morning, and we had this conversation where I gave them an example of how the concept of witchcraft, or excuse me, a law of attraction, is just a step to witchcraft. And I don't say that in a negative sense. I mean, for all the girlies who are out there like, oh no, making my vision board and doing all that. You know what? You're right there with the idea and the concept. You're right there. I just think, thank you, Emily. Nice to see you, or nice to talk to you. I just think that if they would just take that leap, yes, pun intended, into actually casting a spell, that vision board and everything else would actually work. We all have the ability, back to there's a little witch in all of us. I do believe we all have the ability. We all can work with our ancestors. We can all do that. But if you're just willing to just let go of societal, pressures and dogma, religious and otherwise, just for a moment, and just see there that you're a being, you're existing, you have innate gifts, and just start thinking, well, what if? Well, what if my thoughts actually could turn into things? Um, what if? Once you start asking that what if, or what would that be like? And then you do it, and then you try, and then you stay in that energy, and you keep trying. Now, I can't guarantee that you're going to get everything you want, because I don't think I think, again, some people have been working that muscle for quite some time, and they have a handle on it. So if you see some witches and it's like, dang, how she always got stuff, she's rich. Or, people call Beyonce, I'm going to use her. People say Beyonce's a witch. I don't know if that woman calls herself a witch. Whenever she's talking about anything religious, I always hear Christian overtones or Christianity coming out her mouth, or the God. I don't really hear anything um, otherwise. She might dibble and show for the people to kind of, as an artistic thing, but I don't really. I don't know, but I don't see anything to say that Beyonce is actually a witch. I'll just be honest with you. Most people who are saying that are speaking that from a negative point of view. But, as an actual witch, I'd love to know that she was a witch. But if let's pretend we know for sure she is, and you're like, well, let's say she became a witch. She already was a singer. She wasn't a witch then, so she's already a singer. Let's say as soon as she We're going to play this game. She, when she left Destiny's Child and she went out on her own, her solo career. Let's say she started practicing magic at around that point. Okay. So the question is, well, I've been practicing magic longer than her. How come she starts and she's where she's at? How come I don't have that? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, I'm not a singer. I'm not trying, I'm not a pop star. Also, I'm older than her. So a lot of this is youth based. So, okay, I missed my mark. Well, how come it didn't happen for me back in my time? Did I want that? Did I ask the universe? Did I petition my ancestors? Did I work with the deity to become a freaking international pop star? No, I didn't. I didn't because I don't sing. Well, I can sing, but I'm not like it's not a talent for me. So I didn't do that. So okay, all right. So we come to the determination. Okay, well, how come I wasn't able to sing so I could do that? It's like, so what do you really want? Do you want fame? Because it sounds like you want fame, or did you want talent? What are you asking? Either way, you're not Beyonce. You're not. That's her life journey. That's her path. You don't work with what you have and build from there. Now, to make this more like if you hopefully that made a little bit of sense, kind of what I was saying. Like people compare themselves to other people, and it's like that was never your path. You were never going to do that. You could be petitioning ancestors all day. You also didn't have the forethought to even know to ask for those things. How would you have known? You see this person now and you're thinking, well, okay, well, I want it now. Make it happen. Well, ma'am, you're 38 years old. It's hard to become an international pop star if you're 38. They're kind of funny about the youth thing. I'm just saying, even if you're 28, even if you're 18 right now and you're watching this, you're like, well, I'm 18. I should be able to go out there and I should be able, well, really? Do you? Okay, first of all, you need to start working some glamour spells and you need to hone that. So it's going to take some time because you need to get people to be attracted to you. So you need to work on magnetism. Um, and that might take some time, especially if this is what you want. Do you want to be Beyonce or do you want her fame? What is it that you want? And this I just used Beyonce because it was fun and it was just like, I want you to think ridiculous. But even if it's somebody if it's a friend or somebody you work with or just somebody you're in your sphere, and their stuff is always together, and you're like, how are they doing it? How are they doing? How I'm doing casting spells, and I keep doing workings, just to pay bills, and they seem to be able to just do things. Now I've been in those shoes before. How come these people could go to Disney every year? How come they can take a vacation every year? And I keep promising my kids we're gonna go somewhere, and I'm happy if we could just go visit family back home. Like we're not even doing that. Like why is this happening? Um, there was a lot of work that I had to do, mindset, and I know people don't want to hear that because it's boring. It sounds like a lot of work, but witchcraft is work. And deep down, did I want to go to Disney every year? Did I want to just be able to take my kids on a vacation? What did I really want? Or was I just looking with envy at someone else and then getting upset with the universe, with the concept and the idea of what witchcraft is and saying, oh, it don't work, because there are people who were like that too. Tangent over. I told you I just go there. Anyway, so speaking of, so how do we work with the veil at Samhain? So communicating with your ancestors. In my video I posted this week, yesterday I think it was, for my grimoire update, the book Shadows update for the dark half of the year. Hopefully you watch that. Within a description as well, I have a Celtic cross inspired tarot spread that I created. So you can use that. And I just showed the pages of how I set it up in my book. Use something like that. Use a tarot spread. Use divination of your liking, like communicating with your ancestors. It's a powerful way to work with the veil. I would suggest maybe setting up an ancestor altar if you've never done anything like that. It doesn't have to be something you keep up the whole time. It could just be for the purposes of Samhain. So, photos, heirlooms, some offerings, food, water, candles, to invite your ancestors, and ask them for guidance. Before we start asking, okay, let's start there too. Communicating. So, quick ritual idea, and then I'm going to get into that. So, light a white candle. Most people have a white candle. If you don't have a white candle, do you have the battery operated candles? Use that. Um, Breath work. I was actually advising somebody this earlier today. Breath work. So before you start anything, I want you to concentrate on your breathing. Before you tell me, oh, I can't do that, my mind is racing. I am a crazy lady in my mind. Trust me, I understand. However, it is hard for me to keep, like, eventually, or I'll just say this, my thoughts slow down a little bit. I never had like go empty moment. It just is a little less for about 2 seconds. So when I say concentrate on breathing, I mean, this is what I'm thinking. Into the nose, into the nose, into the nose. Hold, hold, hold. Out through the mouth. I'm saying that in my head. Literally, I'm just thinking about the breathing. I'm giving myself instructions, so I'm not thinking about anything else. Do that for at least 60 minutes. Trust me, you will put yourself into a state long enough, just long enough for maybe something to happen, for you to feel like maybe it's a go. 60 minutes. Do not set a timer that'll throw you off. But the idea of it, 30 seconds at minimum of just into the nose, into the nose, into the nose, into the nose, out. But I'm not saying it, I'm thinking it. You get what I'm saying? Just do that. You're going to feel more relaxed. Even if you think, I can't, shut up. Yes, you can. Just shut up and just think for 2 seconds about breathing through your nose and out through your mouth. This is what I say to myself. Anyway, so you're going to do that. Okay. Before we get into the asking for money, asking for the love of our life, asking for protection, or asking, let's do this. That offering, that little offering? The simplest is a glass of water, a cup of water, a bowl of water, if you will. The fanciest glass that you have and you feel comfortable using, use that for this little ritual. You're going to have a white candle. I don't care if you got to get a birthday candle. I don't care if it's a battery operated candle, an heirloom of sorts. If you want, write your last name on a piece of paper. If you're married, your maiden name, obviously, we're trying to have a connection here. If you have no heirloom or nothing, just write your maiden name. The water. Then you breathe. You can get rid of all this stuff. You don't have to keep it out. Then you do your breath work. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for your guidance. Even if you're not sure, they did. Trust me. You're here because of that. Start with a thank you. Please accept my offering of water, whatever you put out. Please accept my offering. Take another breath. Like as if you were giving them opportunity to accept the offering. I'm asking for your guidance right now. I'm asking for your guidance. I'm asking for you to help me find a way out of this situation. Could you please give me the direction I need to take so that da 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 da. Start like that. No, I need y'all to say, I need money. I need money. No, 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 no. I mean, you can, but I would suggest if you're not really doing ancestor veneration, don't come in. That's so disrespectful. Guidance, direction. That is so much more. You'll get more with that. And because it might be time to teach you a lesson, and you might get lessons instead. If you come in there with, I need money. I'm tired of being by myself. I want somebody here. When am I going to have one? I've been wanting to have kids. I can't meet anybody. Or why, no. We're not doing that. Guidance, direction. Can you provide? Now, once you've built up a rapport and you whatever that is, whatever that connection is, you probably will speak a little bit more freely at that point. You might, because there's already a dialogue. But I would say if you're not accustomed to doing this, be mindful about just coming in, a little too casual, because you want to be respectful. Respect is a big deal, especially for us African Americans and our ancestors. We know that the idea of respect wasn't always given to us, so be respectful. I mean, I'm not saying anybody else shouldn't, but trust me, be respectful when you're working with your ancestors. Um, so back to the concept of spiritual divination, that I again explored in that previous video, but this is a great time to do divination. So pendulums as well, scrying bowls if you've been wanting to work with that. I would even say things like your candle wax. So let's say you do have a candle burning. When so you're going to want like a taper candle or something that the wax drips. So you're going to want to see what happens if you could look in it. What don't make yourself crazy about this. I say this as someone who made themselves crazy about that, trying to divine the candle wax. What you want to do is just the first thing that comes to your head, write it down. This is not an analyzing moment. Just what comes into your head. When you look, what do you see? Even if it's absurd, write it down. Leave it alone. Now you can look at what you wrote down, and then you can maybe see if you could piece things together. We're not gonna you can take a picture on your phone or something so you can come back to it, but like first thoughts or interpretation, I shouldn't say thoughts because I don't want you to do that. Your first interpretation, what pops in your head? What are you visualizing? What do you see when you're looking at candle wax? And that can be messages right there. So that's powerful, especially if you were just using that to commune with them and then you're looking at the wax. So that's another way of working with them and getting messages and things like that. Pendulums are also a good thing if you're not really good with the cards or it just doesn't connect. Some people's like, yeah, I'm using these tarot cards, but I'm not getting it like communication like that. Yes, no, maybe so. Use your pendulum. You listen, you can get a piece of paper, draw a circle, get a plate, trace a small plate, do the pie, separate it up. Yes, no, maybe, or whatever else. If it's something specifically you're going to ask or something like that, maybe put that on there in those little pie slices and get a necklace. If you have a crystal necklace, that's great. If not, just get some sort of necklace that kind of is pointy. Okay. Ask the universe in that moment to bless that and to use that for a divination tool and get to going and use that as your pendulum. Simple, easy. You don't have to make this complicated. There are wonderful tools that you can buy, but I mean, if you don't have it and you want to try it, you don't have to necessarily buy anything. Also, I have my notes on here to keep myself going. But again, I have the Samhain Ancestor Communication Tarot spread that you can check out in that video. So that could be helpful if you do want to use tarot. You can also use oracle cards for that. I say tarot because it's, I had the idea of tarot in mind. But please use oracle cards if you want. So I alluded to this earlier, but dream work. So another way the veil shows up is in our dreams. So you want to pay, again, close attention to messages or symbols that appear in your dreams around Samhain. I truly believe the spirit world can reach us easier through our dreams. That is how my ancestors came to me, through dreams. So that's how my first contact was, through dreams. So I definitely agree with that. And then through lucid dreaming, and then I was able to just reach them on that plane at will. And remember, it's a muscle. So the longer you go without having these connections, it can be harder to connect sometimes. So try to make it part of your practice, not just around this time. I just want to point that out. But, for those of us who maybe have been a little bit lax with ancestor veneration, bring it back. This is our opportunity. This is our time. So I've been talking about connecting even a little ideas for a little ritual to do. Safely navigating the veil. setting boundaries. So when working with the spirit world, it is important to protect yourself before doing any veil, work, any connecting with spirit and things like that. I personally like having a protective circle. I will be doing that in my Samhain ritual. I will be casting a circle. Normally, it's not. I've been very lax um, about it, but not this time of year. My gigantic jug of water. I have to drink 80 ounces. Or I don't have to, but I have a goal of 80 ounces. This is 64. So if I don't start drinking this water in the daytime, we run into a problem the more I drink at night. Excuse me. Um, some spirits are not friendly. I'm not into scaring people. And if you notice here, I don't really talk about stuff like that. Like, oh, they're negative spirits and all that sort of stuff. I don't really get into that because it's just not really in my reality, because I protect myself. Um, Protect yourself. Cast a circle. If you're not accustomed to casting circles, there are so many references online that could help you. If you hit the join button, I have actually shown how to cast a circle for my members in a previous video. So there you go. And those is wonderful perks with that. So like getting member only videos where you get to see in real life someone casting a circle. But yeah, cast a circle. But there's books that will walk you through it. I don't work with any sort of archangels. I don't even know how to say it. I call directions and elements instead. So I don't work with that because I don't work with any angel stuff. But yeah, cast a circle, a protective circle. Work with a deity. I work with Hecate, especially this time of year. Hecate, Persephone, definitely energies that I want to work with. I feel very called to these energies. So I work with them around this time of year for protection for sure. Bring out those crystals, black tourmaline, obsidian, all that sort of stuff that can help you as well. Having it literally on you if you want, maybe having it in your hands. If you have several pieces, kind of stage them around in a circle and just, envision that being the circle of protection for you if you're not going to actually call the quarters and all that sort of stuff. But protect yourself. Wear an amulet, something that protects you. I want to emphasize again about respecting spirits. So again, they're not always friendly. So be sure to close the connection that you opened up, even if it's just reading some cards. If you just sat there and just waited to see if something popped up, or the candle wax method or pendulum, whatever you use, or like I said, if you just sat there and waited just to receive something, close that connection. Even after setting up an ancestor altar, because that's a portal and you've activated it. Thank the spirits again when you're done, and ancestors for their time and their guidance and their support and their protection. And take some more breaths to remember we talked about this is a relationship we're building. So when we thank them, we're giving them an opportunity to go, to leave, to separate the connection. So we're going to take some deep breaths, just a few, to give them time, and then we're done. So that's kind of respect. We're not holding it open and leaving a portal open and a gateway for other spirits that maybe are not friendly to come through because we forgot to close the connection. All right. So working with deities during Samhain. I talked about Hecate, but some people work with the Morrigan, and there's many others. I like Hecate for this time because she's connected to the concept of death, rebirth, transitions during Samhain. So that's why I prefer to work with her. Another one is Anubis, can help guide you through this sacred time as well. Meditate, leave offerings in honor, of your ancestors. Again, working with these deities, it can help you kind of have a deeper connection. I wasn't someone who always worked with the deity for actually most of my practice, However, there has definitely been a change in my magic. There has definitely been a change in if you are perceptive, maybe you've noticed some things. I would want to say in the last 2 years or so, there's definitely been a change for me. So of working with Hecate and just even how I talk about witchcraft and things like that. It's been a positive change. So it's deepened my spiritual practice working with the deity. I don't work with any male energy deities at this time. And for a while, I thought I was being called to. I had talked about a situation. It was a funny story, but I really believe there was a spiritual significance to it where a dog tried to open my front door. So I was sitting out there in my living area. It's an open floor plan, but yeah, I was sitting out there. At the time, I had a desk set up in a dining area, and my back was to the door, and I could hear the door. So I turn around, and I'm seeing the door handle move, and I realized, well, current at that moment, I was the only one in the house. So I go around and look out the window because I look at the peephole, I don't really see anything. And then I look out the window because I gratefully can see, and I don't see a person. I just see a dog, and I was like, why would it? So is someone doing so? I'm thinking a person walked away until I see the dog go back and try to move the handle again. He was trying to let himself back in because apparently it's like a cookie cutter area here. One of they lived the dog belonged in the neighborhood in another home similar to mine, and his owners trained him to open the door so he could let himself back in. So he was trying to do that. He was at the wrong house. That had never it had never happened before up until that moment. So it was just it freaked me out for a couple seconds because I was like, I mean, I'm thinking someone's trying to open the door, and I was like, what if the door was unlocked? My door is never unlocked. But what if it was unlocked? We both would have been surprised. Um, we would have had the shock of our lives together. But what I realized, not in that moment, but my interpretation of that was I thought this was tied to something else because some other things that I thought I wanted to work with. And I thought, oh, maybe this is my time to sort of work with a male god, male energy deity. And then a funny thing would happen months later. Through another series of what seemingly random events, but they really weren't. It was all connected. That was Hecate because I would learn. I didn't know anything about working with Hecate. I would learn dogs. They're kind of her thing. So once I realized that, I was like, oh shoot, like okay, so that's where that's coming from. That's and then everything kind of fell into place. But anyway, yeah, working with Hecate. So that was she was coming to me, she was calling me, she was literally at my door or sitting her dogs to my door. And come to find out the dog, by the way, he had gotten up a couple more times and went over my other neighbors, they saw him. We talked about it. He was friendly. Like he wasn't, it wasn't like a threat or anything. He was just a pet, somebody's pet who was a little confused and got out of the house. I think they moved. I don't think they still live. Or if they did, isn't that crazy? He never got out again. I haven't seen him in a while. So there's that. But yeah, I was willing to work with her. If you have things like that happening or through dreams or you just kind of feel like there's a calling, answer the call. Answer the call. Don't put it off. I got a little confused about it initially, but I didn't do anything about it. It's not like I started working with a specific male deity or something like that. I was waiting for more information, and I'm glad I did because more information did come. So let's talk about some daily practices with incorporating veil work. So if you don't perform a full ritual, which is perfectly fine, you can still honor the thinning veil in small ways. Again, lighting a candle for your ancestors at night, putting out a single tarot card for communication, keeping a dream journal, setting out a glass of water. I know for us, African Americans specifically, with our ties to our ancestry, water is a big deal with ancestor veneration. These are just small daily practices. If you want to do a whole meal or something like that, every meal, or at least one meal out of the day, if you want to set something out like that, that's perfectly fine. But definitely, I'm talking daily things. If that's not something you're going to do, water is a great thing to do. And you can change that. Some people say change it daily. You can change it every couple days if you feel comfortable with that too, especially if it's open water. I've been guilty of waiting too long, and I always apologize when I do that. Um, a simple spell suggestion. Hey, gemstones, a simple suggestion for a spell to enhance communicate or connection during this time to create spirit communication. So potentially a jar. Okay, I'm open to jars and things like that lately. Fill it with some herbs like mugwort, rosemary, lavender. Place it on your altar. Again, if this is just an altar for this time, that's perfectly fine. It doesn't. Oh, it's one. It was 111, 111. I felt like that's a sign that I happen to notice that. Place the jar on your altar, as I was trying to say. uh, or even by your bed if you don't have that. Invite messages from the ancestors or guides in a safe, protected manner. So once you put it there, it's kind of symbolic of an invitation for messages to come to you. So it's just a simple spell, something that you can do. Recycled jar. Does you have to go out and buy a bunch of things? You can use kitchen herbs for this as well. If you don't have all of these things, Italian seasoning is okay. You can work with that too. Get your hands on some. Your hair looks good. Oh, thank you, thank you. I'm embracing the full on black aesthetic for the moment. I love the red leading up, but I was like, no, I want the dark color right now. But thank you. Um, yeah, so that's just a fun spell suggestion. Again, I just want to point out that this is a beautiful time. There is beauty in death. I know that's hard to for some of us to wrap our minds around. Um, it's mysterious. It's scary to some, even to me on some level, because I just don't know what's going to happen and we just fear the unknown. But working with my ancestors, building that connection, recognizing, respecting, venerating them has actually kind of cured my fear of death. I can't deny, I can't be in two thoughts that I'm not in conflict. I know they have shown things, they've communicated with to me on very specific things. It wasn't something that I just, imagined or it was a coincidence or something like that. They've directly answered things that I've asked with an appropriate answer that only made sense to the question. So I know they're real. They've come to me in my waking hours, and through my connection on a different realm when I sit down and I actually, meditate and I want to meet them on our agreed upon realm. They've come to me in my sleep. They've spoken through family members to me. So what am I afraid of again? What am I afraid of? You know what I mean? So it's definitely helped that fear. I had a deep seated fear about death for a very long time. My childhood friend had always known that. We talked about that not too long ago. I was terribly afraid, and it's like the idea of nothingness freaks me out. I mean, I just think it's in conflict of being human. So anyway, working with my ancestors resolved that for me. So I would suggest this is a perfect opportunity if you do have some fears around the idea of death. I think it's good to work with ancestors. Let them start showing up and communicating with you so you can understand that there's a finality that is death, but even in tarot, it does it of that situation, that life, that thing. It doesn't mean there's not something else, a new chapter. It's just this version is no longer, but you exist. Energy doesn't die. I think I mostly get scared of suffering before you die. I don't even want to think about that. my, it's the nothingness that was freaking me out, or the idea that what if there's nothing. By the way, I never thought about once I was okay, for real, for real. Once the frontal lobe developed, I no longer believed in the concept of heaven. It just seemed ridiculous to me. Also, with the obsession with virgins and all that sort of stuff, at that point I once I wasn't a virgin anymore. I was like, I don't think heaven's gonna really work out for me. Because everybody's praying these men talking about virgins being there. Anyway, I'm not gonna go down that road. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Um, so that is my discussion on working with ancestors during this time. I hope it was helpful. I hope that you were able to, with all my many tangents during this talk, this is why I edit. But I wanted to give this to you. This is what I wanted to just freely talk about this stuff and hopefully have some interaction as well. So thank you all for coming and for listening and watching and for commenting. I will continue the series. We'll go into next week. My book came in from it's okay, it's original. Thank you. Thank you. Um, but my book came in from Lorraine Anderson's book, Moon Apothecary. I am in the trenches reading. I'll be wrapped up by Friday for sure with my notes, and I cannot wait to talk about this book. I have so much to talk about with this book. Okay, that's one. I'm still waiting for Glam Astrology to come into the mail. It Amazon updated me and said that it did ship, but it's coming USPS. Fingers crossed. I get it in time to actually absorb it, so I can talk about it and review it. If that doesn't happen, I'm going to do a quick change on the books. So I'll just have to, I'll read, dang, I can't remember the name of the book. I lost it. Anyway, I'll figure it out. Do you have videos, shadow work in the membership? I do not have anything specifically about shadow work yet. Um, that'll be more into the dark half, going more into November and things like that. I actually plan on my content a month in advance. But yeah, that is something I will be talking about because I believe the dark half of the year is an excellent opportunity for shadow work. And that's when I did my own truth ritual videos. I don't know about what truth, I don't know about the truth part, but I did do a Maybon ritual, very detailed, where I showed myself in performing the ritual. Yeah, let me just explain a little bit if anybody was curious about what the membership includes. So I give at the beginning of the month, I do a tarot oracle reading for the month for just our group, for members only. So it's a collective reading, and some things will resonate, some things won't. Even I get things for myself, and I come back and I talk about it the next month, what did or didn't resonate for me. Um, I do member only videos where I'm doing a spell or ritual, and then I'll do bonus videos as well within a month. So additional videos as well for if there's something specific going on or something like that. It's just I just like to do extra things. I also sometimes give well, there's always a coupon for 40% off at leadtaken.com. So any of my services, sometimes I'll throw in additional services for free. So for that month, they're able to get, let's say, my monthly moon readings that are a subscription. So I share those randomly throughout the year, just to, kind of get that engagement going if I see that my members haven't signed up for that. So just to give them a little taste of it. So a sample, things like that, and more to come because I'm always growing and adding more value to the membership program. So yeah, that's what the membership is. So I keep growing, I keep adding more and, more content that is relevant and, desired content for my members. So yeah, that's what the membership includes. But rituals, I don't know what a truth ritual is, so I'm not sure. But you can maybe Google or check Pinterest. I'm a new witch and saw your videos on being a new witch. Oh, okay, cool. Um, why do you want? Let me ask you a question. I don't usually ask this, but I am curious. When you say a truth ritual, is it to get someone to is it to reveal the truth to you about like someone? Are they lying to you? Are you being kept in the dark about something? Is that what you mean? I'm curious. I'm actually waiting for the answer. I'm curious though, like, what do you mean? Because if that's what you mean, you should you could book a tarot session with me, and I can help you with that. I heard this saying in a hoodoo video I saw today. Okay, if you're interested in revealing um, the truth of a situation, yeah, go to leaptaken.com, and I would say you can book me for a reading. My readings are very reasonable. I'm not outrageous. So I try. I want my worth, but at the same time, I'm a realist and practical minded witch, and I want to be attainable. My services, so they're very reasonably priced, by the way, over at leaptaken.com if you want to check it out. And I have multiple tiers, so I can help you with that if we want to kind of see more about a situation. Um, or you can help yourself as well. And I would say, get some cards as well or some other divination. I'm a Scorpio, so this should be interesting. Okay. Yeah, you can also do some divination yourself to reveal. Now, what I will say is this: sometimes we might not like what's revealed and we'll reject it. I had a problem with this myself. I would sometimes get I don't trust a lot of people to read for me, so this was actually a family member that isn't really good as well. Because of me, but I trusted them to give me a reading, and I didn't like what they told me. I didn't, I know what that's like. I didn't like it, and I didn't want to accept that truth, so to speak, or what was revealed. I didn't want to accept it because it didn't fit the narrative that I was having about an entire situation. So I would caution you, if that is you as well, be very open. And if it seems like, well, that can't be it, that's not it. You sure about, like, pause. Maybe that is it. And you don't want to see it that way because you have a narrative. And we all have a narrative about a situation, about aspects of our life. And if you're asking something to be revealed, just be prepared for it might not be what we want to hear. Yeah, yeah. I had a reading done for me here in Arizona. I've learned I'm not a fan of tarot readings. I understand. I was going to say I had a different type of reading done for me. And the woman she used here locally, well, similarly, she was in Phoenix. Um, and she used shells. So I paid for I paid for myself and for my daughter, and we both went separately. I mean, same day, but separate times. And I'll never forget it because she said something to me, and she was like, I gave her no information, heads up, like it took everything because I want to talk. And I didn't say anything. I was calm. And I tried. I didn't want to, you know, I was trying to be a good customer for this situation. So she said, she said quite a few things, and I took notes as soon as I got out. Like I was done with my turn, my session. I wrote down everything in a notebook so I wouldn't forget. But one of the things that she said was, and this is just being sharing some personal. She is like, the situation is never going to change. It's always going to be like that. That person will always be that way. Um, and it wasn't positive. So I had to come to a determination because I had been doing work to change a situation with a person, to make them a different way. And that wasn't fitting my narrative. I didn't love that, by the way. I didn't love hearing it. It was the truth, though, and I knew it was the truth. So I had to do something about it because this it was said to me. A lot of things were said during that reading. I mean, I was also told that I have a generational curse that's following us, and the only way to get the curse off was to have a ritual performed of sacrifice. It would be an animal sacrifice. I'm really telling you what happened, y'all. And I was just like, okay. I was like, well, I can perform that. And she was like, no, you're gonna have you can't do it. I was like, well, could someone I know do it? I'm not getting too much into the fact that, again, I didn't give her a lot of information, but I'm also a practitioner, so I could perform my own sacrificial. And also, I would believe my ancestors want me to do it. Long story short, I did not pay for said ritual to be performed because I didn't feel that that was my path. But they suggested it, but I didn't feel that that was my path to do. To do that, I did discuss it with my mother about the generational curse that was passed down on us, and my sister. We did talk about it, but I don't think that I disagreed on the methods of resolving said curse. But anyway, uh, so yeah, so it was done a little differently. I prefer tarot; it's one of my favorite things. I also work with oracle, but I've also created a charm board. Because for myself and for some clients, I feel like that doesn't fit it. So I've created a charm board, and I have created my own runes or dice with my own symbols. And I have a board where it's separated, and it has the different, like, finance, career, work, and different symbols and what that can mean. And I throw it on the board and I divine that way as well. I really want to hear a voice either from my guides or higher self. I know, girl, I know. I do need guidance into walking into a new path. I need to become, and hopefully I'm not saying too much. You're not saying too much. I understand. Because I'm such a practical minded person, I always just wanted to hear, like, because you just give me a direct instruction. Like, I don't want any veiled symbolic, like, I just need exact answers, guidance. Like, just give it to me plain. um by the way, you can ask nicer, but you can also ask spirit to give it to you plain, to just be unique. It's like, listen, my brain doesn't function in this way at this time. I need clear understanding. A pendulum might be your friend for divination. um, a charm board or a pendulum. I would look into working with a pendulum. Create your own with your own energy. And then you can get some fancy and buy something, but you can create your own as well. Because that's more yes, no. So work with that, and journal about it, take notes, your questions and the dates, and see if things start to line up. So keep a magical journal as well. All right, well, I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you again for your questions. This is a perfect time to do all that stuff too, by the way, to work with your ancestors. All right, so please like, subscribe, share, all that YouTube stuff. Again, hit that join button if you are interested in Elite Taken membership. And my website, again, is leaptaken.com. You're welcome. You can check out the services that I offer there. I do readings. I do mentorship programs. The mentorship programs are a commitment. Level 1 is a 4-week program, and level 2 is a 6-week program. The intention is not to make you like me and do magic like me. It is for me to understand you and to help bring out you being the witch practitioner you are, so you can live a magical lifestyle. All right. Thanks again. Oh, I'm glad you saw me too. All right. Bye.